Hello, everybody. I am very happy to say welcome back to Pillar to Post. It's been 6 weeks since we've last recorded the show and last had horse racing, but we're back and we're going to preview the Welcome Back Raceday. I am Rashaun Alleyne, and I'm joined as always by Kobia Hamblin. And Kobia, we, as I said, had 6 weeks off. Some big news came out of the offseason where the Gold Cup is going to see its biggest purse in 2026. $315,000, an increase of almost 50%.
Hey, Rashaun, and hey, everyone. It's lovely to be back. And yeah, I didn't get my wish for a particular race, but as a makeup for it, I did get an increase in the purse for the Gold Cup. And hopefully that does attract some new faces and some new names into our local racing. Let's give a burst of energy into horse racing again.
Yeah, so this is probably going to be a little bit of a countdown to the Gold Cup, but we have a couple months left before we start to get into that real season of the Gold Cup. But right now, we're just happy to be back, and we're back with a pretty competitive card to start the third season, the Welcome Back Race Day, featuring the Welcome Back Handicap. And we're going to start with the debut condition race. It's over 1,100 meters for 2-year-olds, and I think, as we talk about the Gold Cup a little bit, it's so good to see so many imported horses. Imported juveniles, because probably by this time next year, some of these are going to be late 3-year-olds in the conversation for the Gold Cup in 2027, or maybe not. But it's still good to see such a list like this. And favoritism is going to go to Mille Mon, and that's where I'm going to go to start after she debuted pretty nicely in her first start.
Rashaun, it is hard to go against the only horse in the race that has had a start, but at the same time, it's only one start, and all of these are babies. All of these are totally inexperienced, completely don't know what they're doing. So
yeah,
I'm not going to say Mille Mon is impossible to beat, but I will say she does have the upper hand on them simply due to the fact that she has a bit of experience over the rest.
Yeah, and that's 100% why I'm going to take her. Last time out, she showed great speed. Over Faster Cash was a seasoned runner, and then she gave Dr. B all he could handle, and he's another season runner with a load of talent. So the fact that she was able to get to the front and also run so closely to Dr. B, I think these first-time starters would have to really be superstars to beat her with a race underneath her belt. I think also it's worth noting that she was not the higher regarded of the Darren Matthews pair on this day. She beat Mystic Rain, who I heard great things about, and he ran pretty well, but she was able to beat him. And I think Springton is probably what she's going to want to do. It's still early in her career, but I think everything just points for Mille Mon to win second time out. And then Mystic Adventure underneath for me, Gervin, H&M, and Kenny John. These are the sires, a red hot juvenile sire. Connections know what it takes to get a horse to go well first time out. And the reports that I've been hearing have been pretty good. So it's going to be 5 and 6 for me.
Well, Rashaun, as much as I do love Mille Mon, I do love the horses trained by Mr. Rommel Perkins. I am afraid to butcher her name. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I don't even want to try right now. But I'm going with her because I did see her put down a workout. Obviously, this is in my personal eyes. This is all my opinion, no facts whatsoever. But she moved like an absolute machine. She looked intelligent. She looked sturdy. She looked comfortable in what she was doing. She looked like when she comes on the track come Saturday, she knows what she's doing. And she again, inexperienced, anything can happen. But I have my fingers crossed. And you know me, I usually don't go with the favorite. And I believe the favorite will be Mille Mon.
Yeah, 100%. And I think her name is Etta James or at James. Who knows? But we'll find that out later. Exactly. Again, there's a privilege to seeing these horses in person and, decisions made last minute. So race number 2 is the Garrison Road Condition race, and this one is for West Indian bred 2-year-olds specifically. And we are going to get round 2 of Ariel versus Ultrasound. I was on the losing end with Ariel last time, and Ultrasound beat her. You picked Ultrasound, and you're gonna stay with him. But for me, I'm gonna say Ultra. If we look, we're gonna both show the same replay. So if you look at that last race where Ariel was second, I think. Also, the rider upgrade to Ricky Walker is going to do wonders in my mind. She's in contention, and just like her first race that she benefited from a horse bolting, she just blows the turn. And this is not what you expect from a horse who's not only run before, but won before. And she re-engages and she runs pretty well. But Ultrasound, who, in my opinion, just got a uninhibited trip was able to be best. I think with Ricky Walcott getting on board, this margin of a length, maybe even shorter, could be completely turned because I just think Ariel ran the better debut race and probably was best in this spot. Just unfortunate. And now Ultrasound also has to cross from 8 or 7, since there's a scratch, than the rail.
Well, Rashaun, I do love the fact that we can have two separate races with the imports and the locals. It shows me horse racing is on the trajectory to be better, and I love that. But
yeah,
inside this match of what we call Ultrasound versus Ariel, I'm going to stick with Ultrasound. Sometimes the better horse doesn't win on the day. Usually the better trip does win. Circumstances do play a very big part. But I think Ultrasound is good enough to get around, and he has to be caught in this instance. I think he will get out from the 8 hole. I think he will get to the rail. I don't think he'll be inhibited in any way possible. I think it's a straight shot to the lead, and Jock, just hang on.
Well, I'm going to hope that Ricky Walker could work out a trip with Ariel here, I think. And then underneath, I'm going to take Jethro. Again, these are not horses that I've laid my eyes on, but from the pedigree, he's from the family of Joshua and Jericho, and they were very precocious. He's by Eagles Peak. I think there was an Eagles Peak in this family as well that wasn't terrible. I don't want to call it because it may not have been the case. But either way, I think the
You're speaking of Jordan, I think
Jordan, so. And yeah, I think she was pretty okay as a youngster. So I think there's blood here to suggest that he can run Kenny John, and I like the weight if he's anywhere close to the 111. I'm just putting a stab in the dark at the pedigree, but it's really Ariel and Ultrasound for me.
Well, Rashaun, what I found, especially with that bloodline that you've just spoke on, Jethro, is that the Colts, if you look at Joshua and Jericho, they were brilliant at too. They're very precocious, as you said. But I find the fillies take a little bit longer to mature, a little bit longer to come to hand. So I went with horse number 4, Atara. Atara has had 2 starts and 2 fourths, twice in the money. And yes, she was a way bit off of the leaders, off of 3rd place and 2nd place at least. I do think this plays benefit to her. She knows what she's doing, at least better than the other first-time starters, Cinnamon Peak, Jethro, Feel Great, just to name a few. And maybe she can go 1 better, maybe even 2 better. You never know. She may come upside the apple cart with Ultrasound and Ariel.
No, well, you're on that boat to the Lululand by yourself. I really don't think that filly has a chance. So, and that's a little aggressive for 2-year-olds, but this is where you're going to make the money and I won't, and that's okay. But I really can't see past the first 2. Race number 3, it's the Cenotaph handicap, and it's for the 70s and lowers. And this is a horse. There's a horse in here that left a lot of people talking for the last 6 weeks. And you're going to go with him, number 8, Valiant. No, they're still talking. Number 8, Valiant.
I think I'd be crazy to go with anybody but Valiant, especially considering, look, Ricky Walker is riding it now. Hooray. But based on his last performance, especially coming from what I was told personally was a bit of an injury he had, I thought that was a brilliant performance. I was looking for him to, show me he's still a class animal, but I wasn't expecting that bomb of a performance. To throw it away at the top bend, come back, pick up the race, and fight off horses and go on to win that's miraculous to me. That's amazing. Watching this replay, my jaw is still dropping, especially considering Priceless, who was, as it relates to form, nowhere for the last 5 to 6 starts, ran at him huge. I think almost 30-1. 2 of these horses completely blew me out the park last race day. And if you ask me, I think the 2 of them should be running 1-2 once more. Rashaun, somehow you seem not to see it that way.
No. From a gambling perspective, I don't see it that way. But from horse for horse, I understand why you picked Valiant. I think it's very impressive what he did. And we talked about it in the review show. I gave him a lot of kudos for that performance because I've never seen anything like it before. But
never.
Right. But I've had 6 weeks to digest it. And now I have to, handicap different and see if I want to just take that for what it isn't. He had 104 pounds. I feel like when a horse has 104 pounds, they're like, oh, this is nothing. Now he's going to run with 120 pounds, 16 pounds more. No, that isn't heavy, but now it adds a little more to the conversation about what he can do with regular weight. Then the presence of Magnific, I think, will pose an issue with him because he was able to get to the lead surprisingly over Renee. Maybe he leads over Magnific, but I think the presence of Magnific makes me wonder if he's going to be able to dictate as comfortably as he did last. Well, not even comfortably, to be fair, because he bolted. He made himself uncomfortable.
Good.
So I'm going to look elsewhere, and I'm going to take number 1, Luscious. And Luscious is a horse that finally broke her maiden 2 starts back and then stepped up in company for her rating and then was able to beat a field that included our Derby winner and such. And I think that Luscious got a peach of a ride here by Straker. And with this claim at 109 pounds at the allotted weights, if Straker can get anywhere in the stratosphere of this, then to receive 11 pounds from Valiant. Now she's in the seat where Valiant just won with less than 110. She now has less than 109. And I think she gets a good trip if Magnific can make Valiant a little busy on the front end. She's a horse that's trending in the right direction. And we talked about the Gold Cup in the opening. The Tanglewood is now moved to
Coolmore Day in January.
Yeah, the end of January. So these are horses that are trying to go to the Tanglewood, Valiant and the like. So is it a tall task? I acknowledge that, but I'm not just going to bet Valiant back because everybody and their mother is going to bet Valiant back. I respect him, but I'm going to go elsewhere.
Well, if I must say something on Luscious, she has won twice. She has won 2 starts where I have not played her whatsoever. So I'm staying off the train. I'm not jumping bandwagons. I'm going to stay off the train. I hope she goes for her hat trick. But personally, I don't see her any better than third. Another horse I must mention, though, who could upset the apple cart in this race is Fillmore's. I think Fillmore's is the class horse here, the consistent animal here especially, but he's been a bit off in consistency. But again, as I would have said earlier, Priceless came out of nowhere in his last start and he had no form whatsoever. I think it just takes the right day to put down your foot properly, and who knows, it could be that day for Fillmore's.
This is a 17 and lower, and you cannot ignore Fillmore's as he's rated 68. I'm obviously going to go a little completely opposite direction of Fillmore's. I think his form is a little dirty. The horse that I think everyone's going to start looking at is Kite the Maiden. Just ran a huge race behind Nostradamus and Mandarin Oriental. I am going to take the wait and see approach because circumstances, 4-horse field, and dynamics are different. But this is going to be a very interesting race. The race card is very competitive, and race number 3 is no different. And race number 4, it's the Bush Hill Handicap. It's a field that's probably going to get a lot of action. So it's a very deep field. It's 40 for the 40s and lower. Right. And I think it's going to be a pretty clear favorite here, number 9, Detente, and I'm not going to go against her.
I don't like picking favorites. I just like being different. And 17 million US is a queen of her own. 17 million US versus Detente for me. I do think Detente is going to take a lot to beat, though. But again, as you said in an earlier race, everyone and their grandmother is going to bet on Detente, and I just want to be different. I think 17 million US is going to be knocking around to pick up any broken pieces that fall.
Yeah, I think 17 million US might just be a cut below. She's very honest, don't get me wrong, but I don't think this field is the caliber she can really dominate. Again, very honest mirror for how long she's been running and where she's been campaigning. And everything's going to point in her favor. She's going to get a good claim. She got a good jockey. She can run at the mile really strongly. But for me, I think it's a class conversation for me with 17 million US.
Which is fair and fine, but in this race that we've used to highlight, as long as she gets a clean and simple trip, just as above, as I said, I find it hard to beat her. Detente has to show me how bad of a horse it really is.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have her 4th. So I think that she is, you're good. I think that she's okay. For me, Detente just ran 2 really good races. They had some space in between them, but came off the bench last time and ran really well to win. The horse that I have underneath that, I respect Detente that much, especially getting Ricky Walcott, which is why I have her on top. But the horse that I want to show in the replay is number 6, Red Eagle, who changed connections a few starts ago and then ran behind Luscious last time out. And this is a horse who just hangs with higher classes. Like, he's dropping from as high as 55 and lower. Now he's in a 40 and lower. And I think it's interesting that he runs so well with them and sometimes drops to the 40s and then doesn't win. But in this race, he makes such an early decisive move to put himself into contention. And the race didn't fall apart, but I think, sometimes with some of these horses, they just want to come with one move. So he was behind Luscious and he was next to Luscious. Now you can see he's sitting third on the inside. And as the race is progressing, I think with I'm Sid is the other one I'm considering in this spot who also ran behind him. You can see that Red Eagle's already off the bridle, and I'm Sid is just biding his time right behind him. And Luscious, the eventual winner, who I mentioned earlier, got a peach of a ride from Straker, is also biding her time. And these two are going to save a little bit of ground as Red Eagle angles out. And I think in the stretch too, he encounters a little bit of traffic from Papillon. And then also Lester Edwards, I don't think fully committed to the ride late. And you see a jockey change now to Aaron Daniel, where I think this is a good enough horse to finish behind Detente. And I'm going to flip with I Am Sid because I just think circumstances made the short difference between him and I Am Sid.
Yeah, the short difference, of course.
No pun intended. No pun intended. But then a horse that
applicably nicknamed Short Man. But Red Eagle's such a funny guy. I find, just as you said, he's able to bounce around with 55 and lowers and able to run a confident second and third. But when he comes into 40 and lowers, somehow, I don't know, he defies physics. He defies logic, furthermore. He's supposed to be winning these races and he doesn't. But I can see where you would try to put him in there, but he just doesn't fall along it for me. But I do agree with your third place pick. I'm Sid.
Social distance is we have social distance. Is I'm Sid that I picked Red Eagle out over I Am Sid. You have I Am Sid. I think circumstances just led I Am Sid to beat Red Eagle in that spot. But social distance is a horse I think with class, rated 38 and a 40 spot, and we both fall on him there. But you picked
okay. I got a little confused because you started to highlight I'm Sid, so I just automatically thought he was.
No, it was because Red Eagle. I picked Red Eagle out of that spot over I'm Sid, even though I'm Sid beat him.
A little questionable, don't you think?
Right. Race number 4 is the Bush Hill, and race number 5 is the See You at the Races handicap, 9 furlongs for the 3-year-olds and older maidens, rated 50 and below.
This was the absolute head scratcher when it came to handicapping. I had such a hard time with this race.
No, this race is very deep. I think I can see a scenario where multiple horses win this race. We have the same 5, but as I said, different orders. So
completely different fashion. And when I look through the numbers, I can understand why each and every one is in their specific position. And I can almost understand exactly what you're seeing. But for me, we call the Garrison a speed track. And sometimes when I'm a bit of a crunch, I tend to choose the speed horse. And then I look to see who's riding him. Let's see if he knows good pace. And from the time I see Ricky Walker, I'm looking nowhere else. Wonderwall has 2 seconds in her last 2 starts. And I'm not looking away. A second in a 5.5 sprint, a second in a 7.8. And now, yes, the distance is stepping up to 9 furlongs. I don't think it's going to be an issue to get the distance. I think this horse will stretch out confidently. I think Ricky Walker will be able to get him to settle. Catch him if you can. Now, in his last start, going 7.8, in the same colors as Red Eagle, Cromdale picked up the bit and sent Wonderwall into some faster fractions than probably she wanted to go. And, at the top of the stretch, the jockey was asking her a question and she didn't have much to go on with, but I don't see anyone else pressing her in this specific race. The taunt here, ridden by Ricky Walker, was able to collar her at about the furlong pole and go on by. Ricky, again, is riding Wonderwall. These things I pick up on and I refuse to ignore.
Right. I think Wonderwall's good. And I just want to point it really quickly because we're not going to show this replay again. Sunbeam finishing from nowhere to be 5th. I think Sunbeam is by far away the horse to beat in this spot. I just am completely done trying to chase it. A nightmare ride from Straker in that spot after a dime on Luscious. But back to Wonderwall, and that covers Sunbeam for me. I think Wonderwall is definitely primed in this spot where I have her a little lower just because of the presence of Faster Cash. So she was able to dictate in that race with Detente and ran a very credible second. She continues to stretch out. So I think she can stay, but as she continues to stretch out with Faster Cash, I think she won't be able to get such a soft lead. Now, does she dispose of Faster Cash and win? And that surprises me? No, it doesn't surprise me. But I think this race is so competitive that I'm going to look elsewhere just because she may not get away with an easy lead. And I'm going to go with number 7, Night Racer. And This one is a huge shot in the dark, I feel like, of the 5 likely winners. And this horse hasn't run since April or May. I think it hasn't run since May. And then you're going to see she's going to get into some serious trouble 2 starts back, where a horse cut her down, and then everyone's gone for home, and she's still standing, waiting for her cue from Beckles. And the winner, Jada's Joy, is gone. She still hasn't been asked. And when the scene finally comes, I think this horse finishes with the most interest, and I think this is a very impressive performance. And out of this, I couldn't wait to bet her back with maidens. She came back and ran in a non-winners of 2 and lost to Heroes Day. And that race solidified the fact that I couldn't wait to bet her back with maidens. So now it took 175 days for her to be back with maidens. And I think, am I concerned about the layoff? Yes. Am I concerned of all these maidens? She may not be the best of them.
Should
Yes.
you
But
be,
off
though?
that, right.
Because
Exactly.
everyone's off the layoff. Should you be?
Yeah. Hers is a little longer, but for a horse that I've been trying to, find since May, I have to give her a look in this spot. Again, the horses coming out of the Derby, the horses who are related to Triple Crown winners. She's just a modest filly by Dashing David, but I think her performance, if she can get a clear trip, she will definitely be very tough if the layoff does not bother her.
Okay.
You have
So
Sunbeam second. That's the first time I've seen you have Sunbeam that high.
yeah. Earlier you mentioned faster cash, pressing Wonderwall early. Now, one thing I want just to highlight, sprinting speed and staying speed are 2 completely different things. And I know this is not faster cash. This is not her specific event. This is maybe just going for a run, just needing a race to get back to race fitness. But I don't see her troubling Wonderwall. Now, my input with Sunbeam, I've seen Sunbeam, run a few creditable races. But what always throws me off is the weight. Sunbeam is always, or usually, the heaviest horse in the race. And once again, I have the same scenario. Now,
Well, last time you give an apprentice, and she's not the heaviest horse in the race, and he rides her like he's riding Secretariat with 3 flames. So I think at this point, I'd be exasperated too, and I'd probably take Bishop again. I don't know what went into the decision, but the last ride left a lot to be desired. The horse, though, that we haven't talked about yet, that probably will go favored, is number 3, Charisma. Yeah,
I figured.
Training job of the year, probably, to get a once raced maiden to run 4th in the Derby. It's yet to see where the Derby pieces are going to fall, and it's going to start to sort itself out. But that was an impressive run from Charisma. Bold of the connections to put her in there. This was always the plan. Perkins has said that we're going to take the rest of the second season off and then go again in the 3rd season. She's back here. Why? I wouldn't be surprised if she wins either.
I wouldn't be surprised either, but at the same time, I've seen so many situations where a horse runs a really big race in their own specific 3-year-old crop, and then comes to open company, or, well, in this case, maiden company.
The horses, right? Yeah,
correct, and is in absolute no man's land. This horse is just better than what she or he has been with. Now, Charisma, if she wins, kudos to the connections. I'm happy for you, but I'm also not surprised if she doesn't. We now have to see where she lies within the spectrum. But as you said, a very bold choice. I don't know if I was the owner, if I would have done it. I probably would have looked to run a maiden race first. But something I always say is the answer is always no unless you ask. And they asked the question.
Yeah. No, they could not have been disappointed with that performance at all. And as you said, I wouldn't be surprised if she wins a pretty deep maiden race for the middle of the card. It's also interesting that this is my best bet of the day. And I just cannot see anyone outside of these 5. I think this is a gridlock, these 5 and the others, including number 2, Vanquish, and then the 3, 4, 7, 11. For these 5 boxed at 50 cents will give you a $60 ticket. I think these 5 are far and away the best in the field. I've gone on about how I like Night Racer, Sunbeam, Charisma out of the Derby. Wonderwall's just ran 2 huge maiden races in 2 maiden fields, and Vanquish, I think, also behind Luscious is the next best maiden. So these 5 gridlock for the high 5 for me in race number 5. And race number 6, it's the Paddock Bend handicap, and it's for 55s and lower at 1,100 meters. I think this one is going to be electric. I think this one is going to be really, really thrilling.
I'm so happy to see full fields of all competitive horses. it just makes horse racing so exciting to me. Again, it makes races extremely hard to handicap because again, I could put all these numbers in a what's he saying? Putting all the numbers
in a hat, or a bag and pull one. Yeah, you got there.
I think just about all these horses have a shot, but where my heart lies, where I can't take my eyes away from, is the outside post of number 12 in Binary Code. Now, I would have gone through a few races with Binary Code in the past, and I would have seen this horse has speed. This horse likes to flaunt his early speed. But where his wins have come from, as I've realized at both 9 and 5.5 furlongs, he needs to be restrained early. You need to temper his early aggression. You need to settle him early and just get him into a free-flowing stride, because he has 2 electric furlongs and you need to time it perfectly. Now, in this race, at the top of the stretch, the jockey calls on him and he just explodes. Mind you, the race before, he went to the lead and had nothing to finish with. Almost the same company, almost the same class, different rides, and 2 completely different results. This horse, this horse has reeks of talent to me.
Yeah, I think he's a really good horse. And I will say I kind of overlooked him in this spot. And now that you're talking about it, I may not survive this leg. I don't like the 12 post at all. It's ironic because the next spot I'm going to talk about a horse in the 12.
I think the 12 spot helps him, though. It stops him from getting the lead.
I talk about what we saw with Valiant. I've never seen a horse do that. I have never seen a horse break from 12 and win at 1,100 meters at the Garrison. And I don't think it's going to start here. I'm going to go with number 8.
You forgot the dot of Snooky Lou release. Come on. 104 and 3.
No, don't recall. But I'm going to go with number 8, Permis. And like I said with Night Racer, this is a horse that since his last start, I have been waiting to see him re-enter. I couldn't wait to see him on the paper because I want to bet him back. Permis, last time out, completely got hampered at the break. Yes, he's a closer, but do you want to get checked at the break to dead last? And then when the real run is beginning, he's so far out of it. And then comparing his trip to the eventual winner, Queen's Consort, where she gets to save ground and tip out around all but one horse, he has to go 10 wide. And then when he's doing that, Ollivander is bumping him. And so you're trying to get momentum going forward, and then you're still being tossed left and right. And I think by the time he gets clear sailing and is able to put in his run, Queen's Consort is already gone. Is long gone. So in a field where, and I said in the open about how I think this is going to be electric, it's because I can't wait to see Marvel and Fantastic Justice go after it. If one or the other wasn't in here, I would probably pick them because I think they would just run the field off their feet. I'm hoping that these two can go after it. Fantastic Justice maiden race, his maiden win last time out was so good. And I think Marvel is just as fast. We'll see if the two of them can do each other in and set it up for Premise. And then I'm going to go for a little bit of a bomb on the front. Yeah. And I'm going to go for a little bit of a bump underneath with Delicia's Angel. Now, she's coming off almost a year, and she ran poorly. She has an 8th in her last start. And I think when a horse runs bad after being in form and then they disappear, probably something happened in that race. So I'm going to draw a line through that last start. And her previous form puts her as a player in this spot. She gets Jarrell Beckles bat off the layoff. And I think with the projected pace in my mind with Marvel and Fantastic Justice going after it, she could be one that will, pick up the pieces late if she's ready off the bench.
That is an interesting take, Rashaun. And you don't have any big opinion on Ollivander? Ollivander, who's been under Richard Dean and now finds an amazing form.
No, I think this horse is. Yeah, I think this horse is good. I really like when they're drawn wide at 1,100 meters. I'm like, okay. And then when they win, I'm like, okay, great. I held the post too much against them, but the 11 and 12 don't do it for me with Ollivander and Binary Code when I like other horses with more positive draws, with more positive things that I want to see. So I think more to the inside for me. And then a Premise in Social Circle for you. So I agree on Social Circle and then getting a little bit of Fantastic Justice to survive the pace, Joel. I think his maiden win was just really good. I think Social Circle gets a nice trip behind the two of them and probably tips out with Ricky Walcott. And that's how hopefully it runs the same way I see it.
Now I can say exactly what you're saying, but for me, I went with Social Circle because yes, he has speed. He's not the fastest of all, but he has the ability to sit off and pick up the race at the top of the stretch. Now I find his best races are from the front, but he still has a bit of versatility to him where, just because he doesn't get the front doesn't mean he's going to run last. It
Yeah,
doesn't mean
exactly.
he's still always knocking around somewhere at the finish. And I think here he's good enough to finish fourth. Sorry. I do have a bit of a bombastic side eye on Leah,
Right.
but I guess that's left to be seen. I'm not confident enough in what I've seen from her to put her to place here, but she gives a good effort. She maybe knocking around at the end.
No, she's another one too that I wouldn't be surprised. She gets a good claim. She's drawn really well. Form is a little mucky, especially again.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like about others, but Leah has some back class and back races that make her competitive in this spot. But it's going to be a really good.
She finally gets an inside draw. She's so accustomed to drawing 12.
Yeah. No, she's always drawn wide, which I know that because I hold that against her. But the middle of the card gets really, really competitive and really tricky in this the multi-race sequences that there are. So we'll see what goes on in race number 6.
Let's start betting. Go to BarbadosTurfClub.org. Click Betting and select Mobile Wagering Information. To the left, click Start Betting. Enter your account and PIN to log in. Select Event. Then select the race followed by your bet type. And choose your bet amount. Select your horse or horses. When finished, click Bet, verify, and click Accept, and you're ready to win.
Yeah, race number 7, it's the Paddock Ben handicap, and this is Division B. And I think, like Division A, this one is set up to be another super fast one on the front end.
Again, another full field of 12, another headache to handicap. But you've got to find a winner somewhere. And my winner came with the absolute penny stamp, Thunder Lady. Thunder Lady, especially with her gate speed, how fast this horse is. I've seen her win with 110. I've seen her win with 120. I've seen her win with 130. This time, she has 108, and she's taken a 7-pound claim, which should take her to 101 pounds. I'm not sure if the jockey's going to be able to do that. Let's see. But if he is able to do anywhere near 108 or below, good luck catching this horse. This horse is a bullet from a gun coming out of the gates.
No, she's super fast. She's drawn on the inside. She is going to be the one to catch. And there are not many that when you go to handicap a race that you can completely guarantee what their trip is going to be, like Thunder Lady. She has one way of going. It's no secret. No one can even stop it. And as you see, she just blasts out of the gates and she's gone.
Yeah, it's absolutely catch me if you can. And although she has other creditable speedsters in the race, for example, Kendar's Lady, that's another filly with some really, really good toes. Thunder Lady has a draw and the weight on the entire field. Even if you jump with her, you have to get around her, and she is going to take you to the line. She is going to give you her absolute all.
Yeah, well, I find it hard though. All that's fine and good. I find it hard though in a 55 to 30 to pick a horse rated 33, and I have her nowhere. I respect the speed. That's obviously a conversation point because they all have to pass her. If the race were, I don't know, 0.5 furlongs, she wins it. So they have to pass her. I think I'm gonna go with number 7, Queen's Consort. This is one who I think will get a good trip coming off a win last time out. Thunder Lady, Kendar's Lady, even Northern Lady. Oh, I actually didn't even notice that. But all the ladies have speed. I think Queen's Consort will draw in pretty nicely in the middle, will get a good trip and probably close. So too, I Told You So, who's got to win 2 starts back as well. And why I mentioned the middle of the pack, the one who I actually like in this spot is number 12, Emperor. But with your pick with binary code last race, this 12 box does nothing for me. When you draw 12, it's night for me. But if you look back to his last start in the BTBA sprint, where obviously he was a little overmatched, but when this horse started to get going and was finding the seam up the inside, which have to commend Bishop for going up the inside because that's something he seldom does. And then when things like this happen, he's probably like, this is why I don't do it. But he's making his move and then just completely hammered. The door shut by Dancing Prospector and Queen of the South. So at the top of the stretch, he's within contention with those two. At the wire, he's 10 lengths behind them. So obviously that trouble did him in. I think coming back with more his friends, he would be more competitive here. And I think he's coming off a pretty rough trip. But I hate the draw of 12. So I'm going to go with the closers and Queen's Consort. And I told you so with a little bit of Emperor underneath.
Okay, I also am going with your winner, but as my second choice, Queen's Consort. But I've also added the filly Dorcas. Now, Dorcas, her only places and wins have actually only come at 5.5 furlongs. And this is a horse who I think is going to travel with Queen's Consort and is going to pick up the pieces if Thunder Lady fails to get home. Now, this is where my best bet of the day comes in with Thunder Lady, Queen's Consort, and Dorcas. I went with the three girls at a trifecta box bet at $5. This is going to run you $30 in total. And I think this one is either going to win. This one is either going to make you or break you.
Yeah, I liked Dorcas a little bit last time out, but that performance was just a little disappointing. Let it be me. Obviously, she wasn't beaten by far. To be seventh and only beaten by 3.25 lengths, it's not bad, but this is a big bet here for. Yeah, it's a light bet, but this is a big bet, I think, with the three horses you have, and best of luck to you.
And I also went with Northern Lady. I'm clearly picking all the girls in this race.
Right.
Northern Lady has surprised me before with her ability to close rather than lead. And I think, contrary to what I've said earlier, her draw on the outside is going to hamper her quite a bit. So I think she will have to travel with the same Queen's Consort and Dorcas. And well, if your horse comes in, I told you so. And they'll have to give their best to catch Thunder Lady. At 101 pounds, I don't think you're catching this girl.
Yeah, in this spot, I don't care how much weight she has. I'm going to go elsewhere. But we're going to move on. Race number 8 is the Play Part Handicap. And this one's for 80 and lowers. It's at 1,100 meters. And this is definitely one of the races, if not the race, that stands out on the card. You've got the who's of the horses that will sprint in the 80s and lower. And the most exciting horse in Barbados right now lines up fresh off the bench. And number 7, Nostradasa. I thought she would have probably come straight for the Classic, but here she is in the Play Part.
They always say that the best way to get fit is having a race. And we don't get away from that in Barbados. We're not able to train 6 and 8 furlongs as we'd like to. So we have to put in a race sometimes, and I understand. But I have her to be defeated. And I have her to be defeated by another classy mare. She's not as exciting. She's not as big of a showboat. But she does give her heart. That's all I ever asked for. This is horse number 5. Lovely.
Yeah, I have her to get beat, obviously, as well. But I respect Lovely. I think this is what she likes to do more so than Nostradasa, but you have her on top. I don't respect her that much. I like the route to sprint angle. She ran pretty well behind 2 lightly weighted horses last time out. Obviously, this is more her company as well, but I'm going to go elsewhere. And that elsewhere is going to be number 3, Paper Trail, who, like
best
many
in Barbados, they say.
I mean, who's to say he's not? He just won our BTBA sprint, beating our spot sprint favorite, understood the asterisk. We don't have to get into that. But I've talked about it off air a lot, that this horse just carries himself like he is the best sprinter in Barbados. He's bred really well. I think maybe if he was a little sounder, he would have been in this class a long time ago and probably higher by now. So I know last time was the wedding and I don't want to show up to the funeral, but I genuinely think that is the real Paper Trail we saw last time out in the BTBA sprint. And I don't foresee him losing in this spot. I think he gets a good trip behind Nostradasa and Showtime, who are probably going to go. And just like when he sat behind Dominus, I think he's just going to come out at the right time and finish the job. And for me, I think Paper Trail is going to be very, very tough to beat. Also, claiming 220 pounds just puts him right in a prime spot.
I got you, Rashaun. I got you. But I can't do any better but to put him on my third line. If he does defy me, that is absolutely no problem. But a horse I want to highlight is Bahari Cove. He is the lowest rated horse in the race, But Bahari Cove has improved leaps and bounds with every start. And even if he's in no man's land at the 3 furlong pole, like just in this replay I'm going to show, he always finds a way to be within the finish some way, somehow, no matter what class, no matter what distance. There's one thing I love about this horse. You can almost shut your eyes and always play him. Now, in this race, he's about 5-6 lengths off the leader, and Marvel is cranking, going for home, as is Northern Lady. And Bahari Cove would not let them get away. Even in the face of adversity, this horse still gives his all. And I expect him to do such again.
I'm a Bahari Cove fan, and I think this race is the prime example of why I don't want Bahari Cove in this spot. The turn of foot was good, but Marvel and Northern Lady, I just don't see a world where Bahari Cove and Lovely outfinish Paper Trail. And I don't see it for Bahari Cove. I think this is just a little too high for him at this point. I think Nostradamus is the best 3-year-old, and kudos to Bahari Cove, but this is deep water.
That's a fair assessment, but I always say you can only run with who's entered in the race. So yes, it is a step up, but every step up he's had, he's passed with flying colors. So who's to say he can't do it again? Now, my reason for not playing Nostradamus in this particular event is you're running with horses who are, can I say, better suited at the distance or more accustomed to the distance. Again, I say sprint speed and staying speed are two different things. I believe if this race was 7 furlongs or 9 furlongs, there's absolutely no question Nostradamus would murder these. But Nostradamus is cutting back in distance and cutting back to what is the rest of this field's pet distance instead of hers.
I just want to point out really quickly, we talk about you can only beat who shows up. 4 starts back, Paper Trail did beat Bahari Cove before he went on to win the BTBA sprint. I really just think Bahari Cove is a cut below, and I like Bahari Cove. But I agree with you now on the this pet distance. Nostradamus may now be just better free flowing at longer distances.
Put it down her feet and being comfortable. Like, I don't think the hustle and bustle is something she's going to be very interested in, but I just
think she's become such a class animal. I think she's just gotten good from the Nostradamus we saw sprinting versus to Corsi and Anissa. I think she's just become a better athlete. So I don't want to discount her. I think she's in the form of her life. She's the most exciting horse at the Garrison right now. I think, again, as you said, this is the pet distance for other horses. So maybe she might be up against it in that front, but I am not discounting her one bit. If she wins this race.
Wait a minute. We're not moving on yet. I got to call you out because you said In Tempo was your Gold Cup class horse. Why is he not on your picks? Why is he not?
He was a Gold Cup caliber horse. Again, then after I said that, nothing. So, he has probably injuries to deal with. He's never
as really every racehorse does.
Yeah. I mean, he's never shown me that he's the type to want to sprint. He's built really well. He's very good looking.
Beautiful.
I just think here, I like the claim, I guess, if I had to find something to like, but I'm trying to bury the Gold Cup caliber horse comment very, very deep. And if he wins a Gold Cup in the future, I'm going to revive it. But no, in this spot, he does not want any part of this. I don't want any part of him. It's really Paper Trail and Nostradamus. And then a far drop off to the others. Race number 9, it's the feature. It's the Welcome Back handicap. It goes 1,570 meters. And we've scratched down to a field of 4. That hurts me because the 2 horses I was looking to pick before declarations are the 2 that scratched. So now it's no. Who do you pick out of these 4? We have horses stretching out, horse making their first start in Barbados, and you're gonna fall for the new kid on the block.
Have you seen him?
I have not. I cannot.
Have you seen any of his races at Gulfstream?
Yeah, I have. So
or across the US? How can you expect me not to play him?
No, I'm sure this horse came here for the Gold Cup, and he's probably going to trend in that direction. And if you look at his race at Gulfstream, of the one he won, I guess he's good compared to our horses. He was a claimer overseas. And again, you're not importing this horse to come and run in the
Our
40s.
Gold Cups are won by claimers.
No, I understand that. But I think I am going to take the wait and see approach to see where he really does fall. The 105 rating feels a little inflated to me. He has this race that we showed was since 2024, almost a year ago. So I'm going to go against him. I'm going to take number 1, Sir Jimmy. And not that I think Sir Jimmy is amazing in this bar, that if the other 2, Caprocat and Prince of Runa, didn't scratch, I'd want Sir Jimmy. But I think War beat at least in the race that I saw, doesn't have the speed to take on Sir Jimmy. Neither does Aries or Miss Anya from what they've shown. So I think
stay though. Can he stay confidently while they're hunting him down with a furlong to go? That's the question.
If there's no pressure, I feel that he can. With Muhammad claiming 121 pounds from the inside, I think it's a prime position for Sir Jimmy to go to the lead and try to rock them to sleep. He's coming races where he has been wired. Like Zazie beat him last start. 3 starts back at 1570. Renaissance Frolic wired him. So I think if he can become them in the sense of the tactic, he can probably rock this field to sleep. Does he go to the lead and Warbeat beats him? Probably, very likely. This is a horse that's probably imported for the first Saturday in March, so he could handle these. Aries also is in very good form, but I just think,
especially with the apprentice claim, if the jockey
exactly
-7,
yeah, exactly.
I love the drop in minimum weights down to 105, especially with these apprentices that can take off 7. I think that brings a whole new light to this picture, and again, it just highlights Aries as a dark horse in this situation. Just because he's about 20 pounds plus lighter than everyone else.
And he's probably on his best day, he would really take advantage of that and capitalize. So I think it's going to be a very interesting race to end the card. Again, Warbeat was probably imported for the Gold Cup, so he's probably that kind of animal. Just going to go against him in his first start in the country. But that was the Welcome Back handicap that is going to highlight day number 1 of season 3. I was very excited to get back to Pillar to Post. So as luck, and may all your tickets be winning ones.
Good luck, everyone.